Welcome back. I'm here with Alex, and the top 8 is about to commence.
That it is, and what a top 8 we have for you today, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so I'm sure you people at home want to hear what are we looking at for our top 8. So, one game is going to be Nick Bell versus Duncan Howard. Nick is flying Fenrau, Asajj, Ventress, and Palub Gadali. Duncan Howard is flying Fenrau, Old Terok, and Manaru. So a nice scum match up there. We're also looking at Andrew Bunn versus Nand. We saw Nand earlier. If you don't remember, he is flying Miranda, Biggs Darklighter, and Jess Pava. Andrew is flying Fenrau, Old Terok, and Manaru. So
Man just
another
has to
very
do it again.
similar list. Yeah, he just needs to have a repeat performance, and he's into the top 4. Second to last match is Marcel Manzano. Marcel is running triple contracted scouts up against Justin Fua, who is running Dengar and Tel Travera. So that's going to be a 5 JumpMaster table. Either way, JumpMasters are winning. But here on the stream now, we are coming to you guys live with not that list, but this one. Mishary Alfaris, he is from Kuwait, and he is flying Fenrau, Asajj, Ventress, and the Shadowcaster, and a contracted scout instead of the more common Manaru.
Yeah, I think that's the first time we've seen a contracted scout acting in that kind of support role.
Yep.
But he's using the extra points to pay for an inspiring recruit. That's going to let him tech pretty nicely against stress, and he's going to be glad that he brought that inspiring recruit because he is up against a stress-dishing Braylen Stramm. You want to run us through that Rebel list?
Yeah,
Matt?
so this Rebel list is Gerry Russell. Gerry's from, I think, Houston, Texas. And he's got Biggs Darklighter in the standard flavor, Captain Rex, Jess Pava, very similar to what we saw last game with Nand, and Braylen Stramm. Braylen is running Alliance Overhaul, of course, R3A2, which is the kind of the stress bot Astromech, and Gunner. So he's going to be able to dish that stress out more, kind of a more guns-heavy stress hog instead of the Y-Wing.
Yeah, it's really interesting because, you know, it's more expensive at 32 points, but Braylen Stramm's pilot ability means that you can potentially get that double stress off.
Indeed. Or stress 2 ships.
Or stress 2 ships and clear both stress with a single green maneuver if you get lucky and you roll that hit or crit result. Braylen Stramm's pilot ability, of course, after you execute a maneuver, you may roll an attack die on a hit or crit result. You get to remove a stress token from your ship. So it's a great setup to be dishing out stress with R3A2 and with Gunner. And Gunner is also just a strong card when you need to push damage
Exactly.
through. So it's kind of a win-win with Braylen. Either Braylen gets a hit, does some damage, and puts a single stress out there, or misses that first shot, and gets to put 2 stress out. Or possibly 2 stress and damage.
It helps even more when you're up against the Mindlink list that's going to have, that one targeted ship could potentially have, I guess not multiple, not 3, because no Manaru here to pass it, but
so
you can have
help.
2 focus, and that's definitely something you want to watch out for.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily even want to, spend your focus against a gunner shot. Like if it's just 1 or 2 damage coming through,
you just let it go through.
You have to think really, really hard about whether you want to actually cancel that because you're going to get a second stress token, which you have to deal with, and you're also maybe going to open yourself up for an even worse result from that second attack.
Indeed. And then rounding out the list, you've got Captain Rex. He's got a great ability to kind of help keep Biggs alive, so he's going to attack someone, probably the most dangerous gun out there, assign them the suppressive fire condition, which will then help mitigate the damage that's coming in on Biggs. So keep Biggs in the game longer. He's got Jess Pava in there, this time running Adaptability, courtesy of the R2D6 Astromech. So instead of whatever Nand had, what was it?
Nand's Jess Pava had
didn't have the EPT and anything at all.
No EPT, I don't believe. I think he was just running M9G8 and
sounds right. M9G8.
Integrated Astromech, of course.
Pattern Analyzer.
Pattern Analyzer, that's what it was. Yep, that would let him do red maneuvers and keep his action, which is so important.
Correct. And there's Pattern Analyzer on Gerry's as well. The big difference
Classic
just being
choice.
the Astromech choice going for R2D6 to grant the EPT slot, and then Adaptability, so he can bump if he wants, or he can go up.
Well, he can match Captain Rex or Braylen Stramm, depends on what.
No, because he's got to either go up or down, right?
Oh, that's right. You can't stay the same. So maybe go up to match Captain Rex, maybe go down to do some blocking.
Yep.
We're going to see how that plays out because, of course, that's going to let him go before the contracted scout if he so chooses, which may end up being pretty important.
Yeah, if you can out-bump a JumpMaster, that's never a bad thing.
Jess seeing a lot of high-level play this tournament, which is always nice when a new pack gets some attention.
Oddly, I thought she was the least exciting out of her, Ninum, and Snap Wexley, just because they both have amazing abilities too. Although I think the difference we're seeing here is that they're a little bit too expensive to kind of fill this, mid-20s role that Jess can.
Jess is such a great addition to a squad because, of course, she's cheap enough that her pilot ability, which is to reroll dice when you have friendly squad mates near you, she fits into these lists so well. 28 points for this total package. That lets you do a reasonably trim Braylen, the standard 26 points big, and a 14-point Captain Rex. And Rex is great. Chipping away with those 2-dice attacks, that can be a real threat at range 1. And more importantly, it's going to take even more pressure off of bigs. If he can suppressive fire, he's up against a Shadowcaster and
Fenn Rau.
So if you can suppress one of those two ships,
absolutely,
you're in really great shape. It's going to make it that much harder to kill bigs, which gives you that much more shooting. We're going to see a really, really interesting game here.
So both these players, fixtures in the X-Wing community. Gerry has been in a lot of regional tournaments. You see him at a lot of these major events, too. And then, of course, Mishary, he, I believe, was our 2017 Yavin Open champion for the System Open Series.
Yeah, Mishary's a traveling man. I mean, he
he'll
pops
go
up
all over the place.
Everywhere.
I saw him at Star Wars Celebration, at Coruscant Invitational, of course. He's been at Worlds for, I think, 4 years in a row.
Gen Con,
indeed. So he gets around, and he generally does pretty darn well. But I think this is something he's got to be very excited to have a chance to be the next world champion.
Absolutely, and Mishary, a very, very good player, very careful, very practiced, huge amount of experience, and just a super genuinely great guy to talk to.
Yes. The other kind of fun thing is, he lives in Kuwait, where they have a pretty strong gaming scene, but it's smaller than what we're used to in the States. So I have seen he has won regionals in many, many, many of our games there in his home country. You can see he's rocking those new 2017 World templates, which I think look pretty darn good.
Looking sharp.
So we're going to see the nice
Gerry staying on theme with red templates. Wrecked. That's the range 1 ruler.
That's one thing that the X-Wing community does, is really get into personalizing their kit, be it their tokens, their rulers, their movement templates, and everything. You can see Gerry over there has some of these System Open target locks, which we gave out earlier this year. I think he played the Mustafar Open down in San Antonio.
Yeah, once you get into these sort of top 16 levels, you start seeing the swag come out. Because obviously these players have played a lot of games, won a lot of events, generally speaking. And the other cool thing is that just people get to know each other. You see some familiar faces. You know who the strong competitors are. Maybe you've played them before. Maybe you squeaked out a win against them. Maybe they beat you, and you're looking for some payback. It's great. There's this, and the tiniest asteroid goes down. That one always cracks me up because I think I hit that rock more often than I hit any of the bigger ones because it's so deceptive.
You think it'll be fine? I can pull that turn right by it.
Right, but then you just clip that little hanging nub there, and you're like, small asteroid. Curse you. Very careful obstacle placement here. Obviously, they know how critical this so-called turn 0 phase is, the setup phase.
So Mishary had, I know, in the System Open at least, been running a very popular list, which was Fenn Rau and Asajj, as built here. Fenn Rau having Concord, Dawn, Autothrusters, and Mindlink. Asajj having Mindlink and Latts Razzi. Latts allowing you to remove a stress from a ship that's attacking you to get an evade result. And then had been running Manaru, which had very few upgrades on it, usually just Mindlink, I believe. But now he's switched over to that contracted Scout because Manaru's lost a little bit of her utility due to the reduction in range, and that gives him the points to do both Unhinged Astromech and Inspiring Recruit. So a good piece of anti-stress there.
It is really interesting because this contracted Scout is not bringing that Manaru utility. It's just a solid ship. He's going to use it to shoot 2 dice. He's going to use it to to add another Mindlink token to the stack, and he's going to use it to primarily be a support piece in terms of clearing stress, which is going to be really, really useful against this Braylen. So I think he's made an interesting call there. We've got a very interesting asteroid placement here. I'm not sure I've seen anything.
Just a big open avenue down the middle.
Yeah, it's sort of like forming two partial walls in the middle here. It should be a nice place to joust if jousting is what they want, but it looks like Gerry is not going to fly between those two asteroid walls. He's gonna deploy on the flank here. We saw that work pretty well for Nand, although Nand deployed in the middle and then sort of juked to the right.
Yeah, it's going to be the Ark, not the world's most maneuverable ship, but
it doesn't have to be with the two arcs that it has, with all of the power that it has, just in its chassis and the customizability of that ship. I think it's just such a versatile ship. It's not fast, it's not particularly maneuverable, but it's very difficult to outmaneuver it because it's so capable of dishing out damage under all kinds of different circumstances. And of course, you don't even need to get damage through with this Braylen to cause a serious problem for those Protectorate Starfighters. I think that inspiring recruit is going to be very, very, very well utilized.
Now, of course, Captain Rex being easy to identify in that Sabine's TIE Fighter there.
A snappy paint job. One might even call it a masterpiece. Although no title on
not
this
running
particular
Sabine's
model.
masterpiece.
No.
Or the captured tie modification.
No, this is just a naked
that lets you avoid being attacked.
Yeah, no need. One, doesn't have the points for it. Two, this is very much just a Rex that's meant to cool off the enemy dice a little bit.
Pull up these.
Big's, of course, a great pairing for Rex, ensuring that you can't shoot Rex to shake that suppressive fire. And there's two ships on the board here that don't have phenomenal agility, so those 2-dice TIE Fighter attacks can chip a couple points of damage through.
We'll start our timer here so we can kind of keep track of what we have left in the round. So Fenn deployed far, far on the flank, but with his dial, he can get to where he needs to be in a hurry.
He's a fast one. I am interested to see why he is so very, very far away.
I mean, he's about as far away as you can possibly get.
And it's not like these two large ships can really slow their roll particularly. I wonder if Fenn is going to be able to get into the fight in a timely manner. It seems a little far, a little further than I would have perhaps expected. But we'll see what happens. He may have some shenanigans planned.
Yeah,
he may be turning away from this fight.
Yeah, or turning to run behind the big ships.
It is shenanigans. Yep, he is turning away. So that would explain why Fenn is hanging out so very far. He's going to dance around. He's going to try to bring these ships in the way he wants to bring them in. He's not going to play Gerry's game.
Do you notice Mishary has that neat little 3D printed token holder over there?
Oh, that's very
Keeps
attractive.
everything handy for him.
Yes. I like seeing all the accessories that people bring.
Yeah.
There's some really creative stuff out there.
Looks like Gerry's just going to go straight in here and go ahead, use Braylen's ability, clear that stress.
Bam!
Already getting some value. You pull that red 4 straight and still get in action.
Yeah, and that's going to free him up to be as fast as he wants to be in the future. Gerry coming out fast. He doesn't want to spend a lot of time letting Mishary come in the way Mishary wants to. He's gonna.
Now, neither of these lists particularly benefiting from, a couple of turns to set up action-wise. It's really going to be more about the engagement and the actual physical space.
Yeah, we don't have any sort of focus token batteries. There's no Ray Crew. There's no Moldy Crow. There's no particular advantage to delaying the game for either player. But again, that opening engagement is so crucial. It really does dictate how the rest of the game will play out.
Mm-hmm.
So especially at this level, you always see a lot of jockeying for position. You always see both players trying to play the game on their terms.
It does look like with adaptability that Jess Pava has gone up to a 5. I'm guessing to try and shoot before Mana Roots. I think she moved right before Biggs.
Interesting.
We're going up to a 4.
4, yep.
Yeah, 4.
Yep. That puts Rex and
Jess
at the same pilot skill. Adaptability is an interesting choice because you're paying a point for it via the integrated Astromech. So I have to assume that it plays a big part in his strategy here, but what exactly that is, I can't say.
It could just be, I mean, the fact that adaptability and integrated are free, you just have to buy R2D6.
That's true.
You get some versatility, and it doesn't really cost you anything else. And he needed an Astromech anyways, so unless you want to run an R2 unit or something like that, I can see it. And there's the odd chance that it comes up where it's very important, being able to go up or down. You have that option.
It's true. I mean, if you're buying it for the ability to jettison that Astromech, which it seems pretty clear that he is, why not throw adaptability on there? It's a 0-point EPT. It's an interesting one.
He doesn't have the spare points, to bring even anything else simple like a crack shot or something like that.
It's true. The only other choice he could make is I think trick shot is also 0.
Yes.
But he probably is going to get more out of that pilot skill adjustability than the occasional shot through an obstacle.
And here at Worlds, never a bad idea to be double-checking your dials just because both of these guys now have played almost innumerable number of games of X-Wing and or other games. Between the Hangar Bays and the other side events and the other championships that I know at least Mishary participated in.
Mm-hmm.
Fatigue is a real thing here come Sunday.
Absolutely. You want to make sure you check everything before the end of the planning phase, make sure it's all correct, make sure you haven't transposed a dial or gotten your lefts mixed up with your rights.
Looks like, again, just speeding into battle. Now, that's the one thing that can kind of bite you in the butt. If he does not roll well on Braylen, now Braylen's stressed, and he's going to have to slow down the whole formation for the next turn.
Yeah, he's not always going to be able to do that fast 4 straight and not pay for it. But every once in a while, he comes through.
So with Mishary's obvious, he has no real desire to let Gerry have the engagement on his own terms. Where do you think this fight's going to kick off? Are we thinking it's going to be back around towards Gerry's side of the board as the big ships arrive over there, or what?
I mean, this could go on for a while.
It could indeed. Jess gets a target lock here, which is a nice little advantage to get.
Yep, that's helpful. That is a nice early round achievement. That's going to stay until it's useful. But that Shadowcaster is going to be long gone. It's one of the fastest ships, and that's actually the fastest ship in the game.
It is.
It doesn't have engine upgrade, but
people never expect the big base 5K turn.
5K turn and a 5 straight on that thing as well. It's extremely fast. You've got those huge nacelle engines just putting out an enormous amount of imaginary power.
Of course, if people are watching at home, if you're only a little bit familiar with X-Wing, another thing that's special with the Shadowcaster is it has a mobile firing arc. So things like the JumpMaster or the YT-1300, the Millennium Falcon, they can just perform attacks anywhere outside their firing arc. But Shadowcaster works a little bit differently. It's got there's a little indicator. You can't see it, and that means we can't see it. But there's an arrow on the base, and you can rotate that around to any of these 4 quadrants. Whichever one you have selected, the Shadowcaster can make attacks out of there as well as the front arc. So you lose a little bit of flexibility, but you get a little bit of a cheaper ship for that. And it lets us do some cool things with the mechanics of that mobile firing arc. And it looks like it is facing in, so to the left.
Which is right where Mishary wants it, of course. The other thing that ship is capable of is dishing out stress. We got a couple of stress dealers here, Braylen and Asajj Ventress. That little bit of stress is such a hugely powerful control element. She can hand out stress during at the start of the combat phase to any enemy ship
in the mobile arc.
In the mobile arc, I believe at range 1 to 2.
Yep.
And that's a really strong ability because that doesn't cost Asajj anything. She sets a position correctly. And that ship is so fast and so flexible that once it gets on your flank, it can be a huge, huge burden. I suspect that what Mishary is trying to do is he does not want to joust this list.
No.
That's absolutely the wrong thing. It's got way more firepower than his list does. What he has going for him is flexibility. He's got higher pilot skill on Fenn. He's got speed and a mobile firing arc on Asajj. He's going to want to force Gerry to basically engage in an inopportune way. Maybe fly through these asteroids, maybe break up his formation, maybe get some shots from the flank while his front firing arcs are not pointed all at the right targets. And he's going to want to bring his list in together. He's going to want to bring it in a uniform way. So I think
got to worry about Biggs.
He's got to worry about Biggs. Biggs is such a fly in the ointment because he's going to mess with everything you want to do. We saw it happen last game. You have to shoot him. He is exceptionally difficult to take down in this list because Rex is on the board. Captain Rex is going to put suppressive fire out. Gerry's a great player, so he's going to be holding Biggs at range 3. There's no torpedoes in this list, so there's no real ability to hit Biggs with a strong long-range attack, which means basically plinking little bits and pieces of damage off of him while the rest of the list is free to do what it wants.
So notice there, Braylen actually did a white. He's going to try and use his ability to get rid of the stress.
Yep.
And it looks like he does not.
Yep.
Braylen
so
is not a huge deal. No action anyways. No action needed.
No, at this point you can keep the speed up because you're not in danger of being shot. You don't need that action in any way.
People who are just joining us asking about the top 8, the Rear Admiral Sharano Whisper list did not make the cut. Tyler lost out to Mishary, actually. So we are now without an Imperial presence here in the top 8.
Yeah, I think that was a rough matchup for Rear Admiral Shiranu and Whisper. Ironically, Nan's list would have been a pretty good draw, I think. There were a lot of lists out there that I think would have been a better match for that Imperial list. Double Protectorate Starfighter. It's a lot more fragile. It's a lot of, a lot easier to take down. But there's so much hull in Mishary's list that it's tough for a 2-ship list to deal with. Now, Gerry's got the gun. If he can ever get it pointed at this
and get it all pointed at the same time, too.
Now, this is a timed match, so it will be interesting to see if and when this engagement happens.
We're about 10 minutes in, and we've seen really just some dancing around right now.
We're 10 minutes in, and I would say that the ships are further away from each other than when they started.
And headed the opposite direction, too. The thing that could be beneficial for Mishary here is that, let's say the Rebels turn around, more or less. That puts Biggs in front of the formation now.
Not where he wants to be.
So just with a formation like that, just getting turned around, that can really mess with your things, both with the ships behind now needing to leapfrog the ships in front, but also Biggs, who you want to be at range 3, now leading the formation. So for that reason, I think we won't see just straight K-turns. I think he's going to loop around back into that central alleyway.
Well, the other thing on Mishary's side is if he can play for time, he only has to knock out one ship. If he can keep his own stuff alive, he can just win on time after.
He does need to worry about that large ship half points thing, though, because it's not too hard to do half points to Asajj, to Manaru in particular, or sometimes Asajj. Asajj does, however, have the benefit she's got the native evade action.
Latts
and Latts Razzi. So Latts' ability, when you're being attacked, you can spend a stress from an enemy ship to get a evade. So you can add an evade result to your defense roll. So you can spend both the stress that you assigned yourself. You can also spend like a stress that Braylen Stramm or somebody else is carrying. Now you will get rid of that stress, which helps them, but hey, if that keeps you alive, absolutely worth it. So yet another turn of just maneuvering and really not in a position where anyone's going to have a great shot.
And we've got this jockeying for position carrying on.
So Gerry is sporting some nicely customized dial upgrade kits, and Mishary is running the same thing.
And Gerry has taken a paintbrush to his, making him stand out even further.
It's one of those things that, again, I don't think we could have anticipated the customizing your dial upgrade kits and making them even fancier, but that's a really cool thing to see when they're themed to the ship or to the list.
Painter's going to paint. Not only that, but he's got a really great system for keeping track of what dial goes where. He's got them color-coded.
Mm-hmm.
The bases and the dials match. I think I can see the yellow dial over there. There's a straight red dial. So he's able to really know exactly what goes where. And when you're playing these long tournament rounds, you're playing over an entire weekend. It's anything you can give yourself to take some of the mental load off is a smart thing to do.
So Gerry goes straight again. He's still not turning. At this point, he's out of room to K-turn, so he's going to have to just loop around that edge of the board very, very wide.
Yeah, this is really interesting. I mean, I don't...
Like ships in the night, just...
I don't know when Mishary's going to come in, because he's going to want to do it at some point. And Gerry is just sort of refusing to play whatever game Mishary wants to play. He's like, nope, I'm going to fly my squad. They're going to be together. We're going to take our time.
Both on a lovely tour of the asteroid belt here.
Mm-hmm. Biggs is on a magnet there.
That's the thing. And here in Worlds, sometimes there's the temptation to, if you get a little bit impatient, you're tired of, of this kind of dance. Somebody will just say, you know what, I'm going in, I want to do this. But that's not the kind of thing you want to do at top 8 at World Championships. You need to have the patience. You need to be deliberate and really think your moves through here.
Absolutely. There's a German concept called Zugzwang, which is, I guess, roughly translates to the impetus to move, even when you shouldn't. And I think resisting that urge is important, because you don't want to expose yourself when a few more rounds or 10 more rounds or however many more rounds it's going to take to get you into that optimal position is going to put you in that optimal position. You want to take your time and do that, because it doesn't benefit you to play your opponent's game.
Indeed.
Even though that impetus to get into the fight is so strong.
Now, I think, Mishary definitely has the advantage in initiating that fight because of the speed of both Asajj and Fenn. He can leap across the board and, maybe hit Gerry when Gerry's not quite prepared for it. And I think that's what he wants to have happen. But right now, he's still a couple turns away of setup to really have a window for that.
Yeah, the interesting thing here is that Gerry's not putting any pressure on the situation to resolve either. I mean, there's all the time in the world for Mishary to move around, come in on this approach, but he's also not able to force Gerry's hand. Gerry's going to be in a block formation like he wants to be when this fight eventually happens. So I think eventually Mishary is just going to have to accept this result, because the interesting thing here, he does not want to go to final salvo.
That's true.
I mean, it's not much of an advantage, but...
That's what, 10 dice on the Rebel side versus...
Well, it's not quite 10, right? Because
8?
it's
well, 6.
No, it is 10.
Yeah, 10.
Yeah, 10 versus, 8?
Yep, 10 versus 8.
So that's a small advantage. You don't necessarily want nothing to happen when you're 2 dice behind on the tiebreaker.
And even, I didn't do the math here, but I suspect that getting a kill on either Jess, Biggs, or Braylen will secure Mishary the win, even if he gets half points lost on one of his big ships. I don't think he's got any more than 50 point.
No, that'll do it. Yeah. You can't be content with killing Rex, but obviously everybody knows that Biggs is going to go down first. That's how Biggs works. So unless Rex gets really out of position for some reason, he can lose half points on one of his large ships. If he gets the kill on Biggs, he can still win the match. But something's going to have to happen, or it's a straight dice off and Mishary's down. So the impetus is on Mishary to eventually bring this fight home while he has enough time to kill Biggs.
Mm-hmm.
Just under an hour left in the match, so plenty of time. Plenty of time but not infinite time.
Now we're going to see the Rebels. I think they're going to have to turn away here and then sort of make their way down that center aisle. And that's where Fenn Rau is, and I don't think Fenn Rau wants to stay there and meet that whole formation head on.
No, I think Gerry's handling this very, very well. He's not intimidated by this superior maneuverability. He's flying exactly the way he wants to fly, and I think he's going to get what he wants, which is a joust down the middle. I don't see any real way for Mishary to prevent that because he's flying so carefully. He's going to bring these ships around slowly, purposefully, calmly, and he's going to take this engagement the way he wants to.
Well, Fenn Rau can still slip out here by kind of breaking to the right and getting outside of the alleyway again. And then there's also the possibility that Asajj and Manaru just continue around the outside and fire in through the rocks at the Rebels. It's going to be a small window to make that happen, but Asajj is fast enough and has that mobile firing arc still pointed to the inside of the board. Or he might actually be getting aggressive and turning right in, because he can get there first and get a hit-and-run attack.
This is going to be really interesting. I mean, ideally, you've got Fenn in chase position because there is no K-Wing on the board. There's no twin
he's
laser
going straight,
turret.
walking right down the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So one more round here with no shots, but I suspect that is not going to last long.
Well, we will see, because Fenn could do a hard one and a boost. There's all kinds of ways to delay this engagement if that is what Mishary wants to do. But we will see.
We will pop over, check the bracket. I suspect there is no updates on the other games this early. Nobody wants to lose top 8 at Worlds in just 15 minutes, but stranger things have happened.
And here we have yet more positional play, peeling back with Fenn. I suspect Fenn wants to come in from behind. That is where he will shine.
So he'll be much more comfortable.
Protect him, let him hopefully get some range 2 shots on Biggs, ideally, or blast in for a range 1.
I think go range 1. The only person who can shoot you is the Arc 170, and your Concord on and your ability in effect there. That's a risk I'm willing to take.
If you can make it happen, that's absolutely the play. But I think Gerry turns in at this point, which makes it a lot more challenging for Fenn to do that.
Now, do you turn or do you bank in and then bank again next turn to give yourself a wider crossing of that small asteroid there?
I think you probably bank at this juncture. Bank slowly, bank again. But it depends. You could do a hard turn and then sort of approach from a crosswise angle.
Seeing a lot of familiar faces here in the crowd watching this match and watching those other top 8 matches there in the background. You've got Dallas Parker, a top-level Swarm player who's been around for a long time.
And still rocking the Swarm. He brought that.
Yes, he did.
He brought that to play, and he did pretty well with it, as I recall. Didn't quite make the cut, but he had a good record.
The Swarm has never really gone away.
Not completely, although I would say it's probably at its lowest ebb.
Yes.
There's so much powerful, hard-to-hit, fast tech out there that the TIE Swarm is a bit
2 attack
of
dice
a challenge.
is an uphill fight a lot of times.
Even with those crack shots, yeah.
So this round could be pretty telling depending on who gets the better positioning or if somebody lands some kind of early unopposed damage.
And it looks like the community is familiar with the crowd as well, calling out some familiar faces out there. Notable spectators from years past.
Yes, well, we have the people who are consistently in the top 4. We also have the people who are consistently there watching the top 4. They are always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
A lot of thought being put into the dials this round. Gerry, I think, is trying to make a difficult decision here. Is he going to turn? Is he going to bank? He knows that these next couple of rounds are going to be critical. You can feel it. The action is coming.
He's got to set it up. I mean, he cannot afford to go straight here. Otherwise, Fenn Rau is all over him. You've got to turn in, but going too tight has a risk, but also banking and then taking unopposed fire from Fenn is also not great.
No, you don't want to let him get behind your team because there's not a lot of flexibility in this squad. Gerry's got a lot of power, but does not have much maneuverability, and he does not want to break this formation up. Jess shines when she's with her friends, and if she's not, she doesn't really.
Yeah, she's just an X-wing.
Yeah,
she's a glorified rookie pilot. Especially having, well, she's gone up to pilot skill 4. Glorified Red Squadron, my bad. We've got quite the crowd here watching from all over the world. Coming up on 2,000 people waiting to see who is the next X-Wing World Champion.
I don't think people would have anticipated. Straight it is. He's got time. He's got time.
Not much. He's got lots of time right up until he doesn't.
Yeah, it's all down to Mishary when he wants to come in, but he's far enough away with most of his list that I don't think that he's going to want to come in this turn. So I think Gerry's perfectly safe in waiting a little bit, letting this conflict play out. Jess moving quick.
Now, I'm still curious to see how he's going to not have Biggs in the front rank when he turns in. Because that's really not what you want.
It's a good question. Oh, Shadowcaster's coming to play. All right. Gerry can't put this engagement off too much longer, so we are going to see some shots fired soon enough. Looks like Mishary has finally decided the time has come.
So you think Shadowcaster this turn spins the arc around? Because right now, keep in mind, it's facing towards the edge of the board. It's kind of facing outside.
Yeah, I don't know when he's going to rotate that arc. Fenn doing what we thought, can't quite clear that weird-shaped knuckle asteroid with a boost, so he's going to have to boost straight.
Yep, he's going to thread outside the asteroid alley there and try and get behind, or at least on the flank.
That's where you want Fenn. I mean,
Absolutely.
Fenn is such a monster, but he's fragile. You have to come in with extreme caution, and this is looking like a good approach for Mishary.
Now, at this point, these guys might as well switch sides of the table here because they're getting quite the workout, reaching all the way across that 36-inch starfield.
Let it never be said that X-Wing is not a physical sport. It actually is. It sounds funny to say that, but, you know, these people are standing up, they're moving, they're playing game after game after game. There is an element of endurance to this at one of these bigger tournaments.
Absolutely.
Maybe not in 1 or 2 or 3 games, but you play... I mean, this is the, 10th? 11th game over the weekend for both of these players?
And that's not counting any potential hangar bay or other side event shenanigans,
True,
too.
Or practice games
Team
or
Epic.
whatever. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of X-Wing.
I know that Mishary played Destiny, I believe, too, so he played another whole world championship before this, and a long, long overseas flight in from the Middle East.
Absolutely. Kuwait is not close. That's a long trip.
So still no shooting, but this cannot go on much longer here.
No, I like Mishary's approach here a lot, actually. I think he's done what he wanted to do with Fenn from the beginning, which is get in behind this formation. And we'll see how the dice go. But Gerry also, you know, he's preserving his formation. I think he's done a pretty good job of countering Mishary's strategy here, but I like Fenn's placement a lot. I think that's going to do real work for Mishary as this game goes on.
Now, yeah, Asajj is going to take the brunt of this Rebel assault here, I think. She's going to be the one right in there taking fire because I don't see a good way for her to avoid it at this point.
Now, if I'm Gerry, I think what I want to do is I want to turn all my stuff in right now because it's going to take Fenn a little while to reposition. And there's not a lot of places that Lancer can go. It's got to go forward. It doesn't have a 1 forward.
It could maybe go left. You think a 3 hard clears that rock and sets it up to loop around behind the Rebels? 3 hard, spin your arc so it's facing your right.
3 bank, maybe. It's hard to tell from this overhead perspective, interestingly enough, but I think you would need to do a 3 bank.
3 bank definitely puts you safe, but that puts you right into the teeth of the Rebels.
Close to everything. You do not want to get shot up like that.
Yeah. I think a turn, if it fits, would be awesome, but it's hard for me to get used to this overhead perspective here.
I think Mishary, I think Gerry turns in. I think if I was,
absolutely.
I think that's the play here. At least get a nice round of shooting off before Fenn starts to close the gap.
Double checking those dials. And it looks like Manaru is going to start us, or excuse me, the Contract Scout is going to start us off. Since he is not running Manaru, he does not need to worry about that range 1 restriction for her ability, giving him a little bit more freedom of movement with the other 2 ships in the list.
Now, I wonder where that mobile arc is positioned, because that is going to be pretty critical for these next couple of rounds.
So I think we've seen Manaru take an action basically every other round, so I think it's still facing to Manaru's left, but...
Asajj's, you mean?
Yep, Asajj's.
I know, it's weird not having a Manaru on the stream, but for once, she is not
there's Braylen
around.
Starting to initiate. Looks like he's going to see if he gets rid of that stress.
Come on, Braylen.
And does not look like he did.
Braylen's been toting that stress for a while.
Braylen is failing, man.
But this is I think this is the time. I think Gerry's doing exactly the right thing here, bringing in this squadron. Gerry has some hot dice here. He could really do some work.
So where's Biggs going to go? He has to hard 3 through all that, or hard 2?
I mean, maybe you skip the shots with Biggs and you just do positional play.
Sure.
You could just go straight with Biggs.
Yep. You go 1 straight.
Yep. I mean, I think there's some merit to that. Like, losing that 3 dice attack is tough, but if it means you're pulling range 3 shots from everything coming at you, it might be worth it. It also buys you more time. It means you can turn in much more softly in subsequent rounds. It gives you a piece in the backfield, which is, another arc to threaten those dodgy ships with.
The maneuvering.
It looks like he wants those guns in the fight, which I can respect.
But he's not going to get past that arc 170.
He's not going to get past.
So he will not get set up to be behind. But no action this turn maybe make him a little bit more vulnerable, depending on what Asajj does.
This is a risky play. I mean, he's going for the offense over the defense, and we'll see how it works out for him. I might have gone straight and kept my action.
Sure. If you guys look at can't see it right now,
because Fenn can get a shot. Fenn's got the speed, and that's a tokenless Biggs. That's risky. There's plenty of games where I've rolled 3 focus results at range 3, and really wished I'd had that token.
Boy, would have been nice.
So we'll see how that works out for Gerry. I mean,
play it slow. So that means he can probably leave his arc where it is, because he's got front arc and the side arc covered.
Yeah.
Basically, the whole side of the ship facing the enemy, you can shoot out of. You'll notice the Sabine's tie down there. Captain Rex, he's got that new rectangular evade token.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it stand out a little bit from all the circular tokens we see out there.
Helps you keep track of your pieces.
He's checking for a target lock on Biggs, and doesn't look like he's going to have a shot on Biggs. So what do you do instead? You evade? Try and weather the storm that's coming? You already have a focus. So that was a smart, by declaring the target lock on Biggs, you get to kind of have the measure there and then decide what you want. Could not see what that token was because of the glare. But I would not be surprised if it's an evade at this point.
Jess is going to have a nice shot with a couple mods. And it looks like Fenn won't get any shots at all. Go for that boost. Now this will be interesting, because all Rex needs to do is put that suppressive fire out to be a real pain in Fenn's.
All right, there. If you're just joining us, we are going to probably see the first shots of this match here. There's been a lot of positional play up to this point, but now we're going to get some dice rolling.
Shots fired. Fenn, of course, pilot skill 9. bringing the heat. Now, here's where the dice need to come through for here. You never know what's going to happen. You're going to get 4 dice and an evade token.
Forgetting the nifty little box we made. So hitting a crit.
So
it's like Jerry's defense more than sufficient.
And you don't expect to do much damage from that range, but it's always a little bit nerve-wracking whenever you have to pick up that handful of green dice.
Indeed.
And hope they come through for you.
So wait, who was he shooting that had 4 evades?
Well, you're shooting. Fenn was shooting the TIE fighter at range 3.
Okay, Fenn around the TIE fighter.
Yep. So Fenn shot Rex, missed, and now we've got the next highest pilot skill.
This would be
Asajj. Yep.
Spend that focus token.
Ooh, see, this is what can happen.
1 shield. Yeah, we were down to about 40 minutes left in the round by our count, which is not the official timer, but that's a good
pretty
estimate.
Close. I don't think this game is going to go to time, though. It's going to get very bloody very fast.
Yes. It's been a slow burn, but now we're going to see the destruction kick off big time.
Here we come. Mishary needs some green dice love.
Yes, indeed.
It's going to
spin the evade.
Yeah.
So no damage.
No damage. Nope.
So that the reflective token we could not see was indeed an evade. He's also got, if Braylen rolls hits, he can spend that FUD, that stress.
Yep.
Looks like now Braylen's going to start dishing it out with R3A2, which is great against that Mindlink list that just stressed his entire opposition.
Yeah, there's very little downside to Mindlink, but that is the downside, and we are seeing it play out here. These dice are a little bit cold for Gerry, though. He hasn't actually managed to put any damage through yet. But here's where Gunner comes in and puts more stress out, so that is definitely...
That's a lot of stress on the board right now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, the unfortunate thing for Gerry, of course, is that if Braylen shoots Asajj, Latts Razzi can protect all. He's going to put a piece of damage in. Oh, nope. Spending that stress. See, that's the thing. There's a yin and yang here in this stress war, because every time Braylen takes a stress, he's also giving that Shadowcaster an evade token.
Yes.
So there's a bit of a cold war going on here. Nobody's really able to get any damage through.
And the getting double stress on the Shadowcaster, not the end of the world when, as long as Manaru or Fenn gets that focus off, you will get the token.
I think the next round is going to be incredibly decisive.
So do you think... I don't think he has room to just run as fast as he can with Asajj through that. He's going to get blocked because they're all going to move before him.
Well, he's got the mobile arc on the left quadrant, so he's got the ability to turn.
It
has not moved,
that way all game.
But he's got the room and he's got the ability to turn to the right here if he wants to get her out of danger. But it's going to be really, really interesting. I mean, does Gerry turn in to try to hit Fenn? Does he go straight to try to deal with these large base ships? There's a lot of ways that this could play out, and I think with 2 players of this caliber, I actually have no idea what's going to happen.
Oh, let's also remember that Inspiring Recruit is going to help Asajj clear that double stress,
exactly.
Which is really working doubly against Gerry's list then, because he's getting those evades out of the stress and then not being negatively impacted by it himself.
Yeah, Inspiring Recruit, again, we talked about it before the game started. Great meta call on Mishary's part. It's, going to do a lot more work than Manaru would have in this situation. So, perhaps it was the nerf to Manaru that made people reconsider. Maybe it was Inspiring Recruit coming out. Maybe it was the stress list that Paul Heaver popularized, or variants of the stress list. But either way, I think Mishary, another great meta call. And part of how to win a world championship is to read what you are going to be facing and tech appropriately. There's so many cards in the game. There's been so many waves of X-Wing at this point that there is a tool for almost every occasion. It's just, what do you bring when every squad point is so precious? But I think that Inspiring Recruit, great choice. Great choice. Is going to pay off big time.
Hey, I think if you showed up to Worlds without an answer for, the multiple stress output by the Y-Wings and some of these other sources now, you were not going to get very far. That's one of those things you had to plan for. So, the Contracted Scout kicking it off. Not a lot of options for where it wants to go if it wants to remain relevant to the fight. And you want every attack die if you're Mishary, because you just don't have that many.
Well, not only that, you want that JumpMaster to be in position to do some blocking, deny some actions, clog lanes, and I think he's got a really cool attack vector here. He can go straight and barrel roll into position. He can turn sharply to the left if he wants to go that route. There's a lot of options here. And it looks like Jerry's turning in to try to deal with this Fenn Rau threat. And now, this is a pretty good play because Fenn Rau can only go speed 3 if he wants to clear that stress. Because
Braylen not clearing his stress.
No, Braylen's not rolling well. His dice are not treating him nicely. He's had a lot of opportunities.
Start considering green maneuvers after all, Gerry.
Yeah, well, he did a green, I think, because he cleared 1, but Braylen did not pay off in the way that he could have. So now I actually think Mishary is going to be very well served by turning away from this fight, either to the left or the right. It'll be very, very interesting to see where that Shadowcaster goes.
Especially keep in mind here, Fenn Rau has the suppressive fire on him, so a long-range shot on Biggs is not going to be worth a whole heck of a lot when you're already down.
No, and do you just try to outflank this formation? Do you try to hit Biggs later when you can actually bring some pain to bear? This is going to be a really interesting match. I think we're going to see some very interesting turns maneuver-wise here.
And Rex is looking to barrel roll to stay on on Fenn Rau, no matter where they decide to break. Also, possibly block him, depending on which way he goes.
Yeah, because the thing with Rex is he is a great tool, but you have to keep shooting. Suppressive fire goes away at the end of the combat phase if Captain Rex doesn't manage to perform an attack. So you have to fly smart with him. You have to keep the heat on. It's not one of those fire and forget conditions like I'll show you the dark side where once you set it up, you can just wait for it to pay off. No, it requires constantly maneuvering, playing the game, getting shots. I think it's a really interesting card, and I think it's an example of some of the new bits of design space that the conditions have opened up. So
absolutely.
Shout out to my homie Max Brook for designing some really interesting gameplay.
So Asajj is coming straight in. Now that's one hallmark of the Shadowcaster, and a sign that Mishary knows what he's doing with that ship. Starting off with that arc facing the right direction, anticipating where you're going to need that arc to be pointed, 7 rounds into the game?
Yep.
That's cool to see. He really nailed that call. He's not had to waste an action turning it. Of course, the Lancer can take the gyroscopic targeting upgrade, so it can move the arc for free if it's going fast enough, but that takes some points that he does not have to dedicate to
every single point matters so much.
That could be a block, 2 bank.
Ooh, good play.
If so, that
Rex
could be very useful. It looks like that is the danger zone of range 2 for Fenn Rau.
Ooh, this game might just have gone Jerry's way in a big way. Good block with Rex. Very, very nicely played. We're seeing some really world-class stuff here. I mean, I think great approach by Mishary, but, this looks like a successful block, which means, 1 focus token is the only thing standing between Fenn and utter annihilation.
And it looks like Gerry has 3 shots on him here, all with 3 dice.
Exactly where you don't want to be as Fenn Rau. Really, really nice work on Jerry's part. Great block. Hey, he's a Rebel player, but he's blocking like an Imperial. I respect that.
Well, I mean, he is using a TIE Fighter to do it, so. So I think the big thing this round will be, does Fenn Rau get away with this? Or, do you
go after Ventress?
Ventress. But the thing is, Ventress can burn stress off of Biggs. She's got an evade. She's got a focus. There's a lot to mitigate your damage there. And
I mean, that's a
I don't
lot
know
of
that you get a better chance
4-dice attacks, though.
Do you get a better chance at Fenn Rau?
No, I don't think you do. I think.
But it looks like Ventress is the decision.
It's a hard choice, It's a really hard
in the
choice
tray.
to make.
In the tray. You are not helping me here, man.
Here they come. Here they come.
So not terrible. He's got the focus.
He's going to spend it. He's going to get that damage through. We'll see.
This is Ventress on Biggs.
And
he's going to go ahead and clear the shields and I think take a damage card.
Nasty.
Looks like just the shields.
That's 2 hit points closer
and he's
to
going
destruction.
For Fenn. Range 2 on Fenn.
I think it's the call. You don't get a chance
This is the
like
sweet
this.
spot where Fenn's ability is not helping him. Concord Dawn is not helping him. You've got to try it.
You don't get too many opportunities like this. And as tempting as that is to shoot Asajj, I think this is the right call. But it's going to be tough to take Fenn down. Fenn is a tricky little bugger.
People wondering if Fenn has a shot here in the chat. I don't think he might barely clip Biggs, but
I don't think so. Not from this angle. It's hard to tell, but I don't think he's got a shot.
So this is
great block.
Biggs on Fenn Rau.
Nice.
Not a bad roll. You really cannot ask for more. Fenn Rau, though, he's going to have to spend it and not take that crit, I think.
Yep.
He does indeed. So
but
now
that's
tokenless,
him
auto-thrusterless.
Braylen's got 2 shots with Gunner.
He's got the chance
he's
to put some damage on.
He's got to roll well, though. He's got no mods. He's got to roll well. And he does.
That qualifies.
He sure does.
Oh, that's Jess.
That's Jess. Jess has got mods
Jess
for days.
Also, ooh.
And there you see. That's what happens when you make him spend that focus
Brutal.
token.
Let's see these crits, guys. 1 face down.
Wow. Brutal.
Major hull breach.
Brutal.
Damaged engine.
Turns are red.
That is a huge swing. If
all Braylen's got to do is chip 1 point of damage
Braylen can kill Fenn Rau, then that is a huge advantage for Gerry, and that's got to be heartbreaking for Mishary.
It does, but I have to say, well earned by Gerry. That was an expert block, expert positioning. Fenn was trying to creep around on the outside.
Yeah.
Gerry saw it happen and moved his pieces in such a way as to cut him off at the pass.
Looks to be Manaru shooting at Biggs. Might as well.
Might as well. Biggs is now down to his own defense dice. But Biggs' dice come through in the way that Fenn's did not. But Braylen with Gunner here, even if he misses, even if he rolls poorly, he's got 2 chances to do it. This is naked red dice against naked green dice. Edge to red. Only needs to get 1 damage through. And he could double stress Fenn here. Inspiring Recruit can save the day, but this could be the end of Fenn. Why only 2 attack dice? I guess he wants to get that Gunner shot. That's what he wants. Although I'm not sure it's worth it. I think I would have rolled 3 both times.
Yeah.
That's odd.
I mean, because not getting the Gunner shot and he's dead is still a great
Yeah, I would have rolled 3 attack dice for sure. Because the double stress doesn't do much with Inspiring Recruit on the board. Yeah, I think that was a missed opportunity.
I mean, that country scout's going to have to kick it up to stay within range to get Inspiring Recruit.
Why not roll that extra attack die?
Oh, yeah, no, I absolutely agree. A dead Fenn Rau is better than a double-stressed Fenn Rau.
Because, if it hits and you don't get Gunner to proc, that's great.
Yeah, that's dead. 1 less stress for you, too, which can then be spent as evades.
I think it's a bet. Yeah, I think Gerry's just used to doing that. It's a cool tactic, but you got to know when to not. You got to know when not to do your habit. You get habituated to certain things.
Yep, absolutely.
He's habituated to missing that first shot, but you do not want to miss when Fenn Rau has 1 hole left.
That's the kind of thing. Again, we point out. Try not to armchair general these guys too hard because they have played a ridiculous amount of X-Wing under a ton of pressure.
Absolutely.
And that adds up and can definitely be a factor in games like this. Rex did not take a shot.
I think Gerry is just starting to miss some steps here. It happens. There's so much pressure. You've played so many games. But that's 2 mistakes in a row, and you can't keep making mistakes like this at this level, especially on the heels of such a brilliant turn. I mean, that was a brilliant turn by Gerry, but then he missed 2 opportunities, and you have to take every single opportunity at this level of competition. because Mishary absolutely still in a great place to pull off a win here.
Yep. The
But,
fact that Fenn gets away alive, that's a big swing, too.
It's hard. I mean, I think it's easy for us. I woke up at 11:30 today, had a cup of coffee, sat on my balcony in the sunshine, biked in, sat down at 2 p.m. to watch this game. I'm fresh.
Yes.
These players have been through a grueling, grueling weekend. So when we comment on this kind of mistake, it's absolutely no shade. It's just so hard to keep going and not miss a step. But that's what separates the best of the best from the rest. And every single player here at this level is so good that that's the difference between a win and a loss.
Yep.
Sometimes it just comes down to who keeps it together.
And there goes Suppressive Fire falling off because Rex did not shoot that last round.
Yeah, and that's
whether it's through forgetfulness. It looks like he has a shot on the contracted scout.
May have been out of range, but again, it might just be Gerry forgetting to do a couple of things, and I hope that he recognizes the couple of things that he missed that round and pulls it back together, because he's still got a real chance of winning this one.
So with Fenn, do you risk the turn in and go for the shot, try and take bigs off the board, or
no,
do you play a little safer and loop around and try and flank again?
I mean, I think at this point, whatever you do, it's got to be green, because you need those tokens.
Oh, yeah.
Inspiring Recruit's going to save him there. Fenn is a sledgehammer, but he can't turn. He's got a major hull breach, so he's down to 2 agility. That is not where you want to be. So you don't want to be shot out the rear by that arc. Absolutely not. You're not going to realistically contribute a lot to the fight at this point, so I think I would play it safe and just try to live. That's a lot of points that you can't afford to lose. There's only about 25 minutes left in this game, and Fenn Rao is not cheap.
Yeah, you cannot give him up. Now, I think Asajj has a great potential move, because she's going to move after everyone but Fenn. A big, hard left turn puts her in a great spot, switch to rear arc, and fire out the back at somebody like Biggs.
Yeah, I don't know where Asajj is going to go that's not going to be a bump. But again,
they're all going to move before her.
It's true, but I mean, maybe she can go to the left.
Yeah, I think a 3 left.
We'll see if the way is cleared for her or not. It's going to be an interesting turn.
So I'm trying to think. Biggs will move last, so the other ships should be out of the way for the most part.
So I think obviously Gerry came off the better of that exchange, but has not sealed the deal in any meaningful way.
And also made a critical mistake there.
2 critical mistakes.
Between Rex and Braylen not taking that additional die. It may have come to nothing.
That being said, it was a brilliant turn. Besides those 2 mistakes, and he's still in a really great position here. So I think Gerry is still my favorite to pull this off, but he left the door open a crack in a way that he didn't necessarily have to do, and that's going to change things.
So Braylen, I think
if Braylen's going to shrug,
try and get rid of some of that.
Well, he did a green, I believe. The 3 is green, so he's going to shake 1. Don't know if he rolled to shake the second one yet.
If he did, it looks like he did not succeed.
Braylen just not rolling.
So I'm curious, what's Jess got up her sleeve?
I do not know.
I don't think a K-turn there with that rock. Is that a Talon roll? Talon roll.
We'll see. Talon will be nice.
I mean, I see a 3 turnout, so I'm wondering.
If it clears, that's a great move. You've got Biggs for protection, so you can afford it.
Set up Fenn Rao if he tries to turn in there.
I believe there is.
It is.
Oh, I love this. Beautiful Talon roll. This is, he may have missed a beat or 2, but that is gorgeous, gorgeous play.
I will say that 2 straight is going nowhere with both Mishary and Brent holding it down.
And it looks like Braylen did clear with his ability, because the 3 forward is not a green maneuver on the Arc 170. So finally paid off a little bit for Braylen there. Braylen's ability, it's nice. It's sort of like icing on the cake, though.
Sure, but you don't necessarily want to point on it. Or,
rely on it?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's nice to have, and for 25 points, it's icing. But it's good. It's good with a stress build. When it procs, it's great. If he gets lucky again and does a green maneuver, he could be stress free.
Looks like the
having
scout
put so
blocked
much on
whatever Rex tried to do.
Yeah, understandable.
K-turn possibly.
Does the scout have any sort of
no
ion
nope.
or
it's just
anti-pursuit?
Mindlink, Unhinged, and Inspiring Recruit.
Well, that's good news for Rex.
So does Rex get a stress? I think he might. That was an attempted K-turn, which would have been great, but Contracted Scout kind of anticipating that move and getting in the way.
Yeah, and that's another useful thing having that low pilot skill does versus pilot skill of Manaru. We got Biggs coming in. I think it's going to be a tough day at the office for Fenn Rao. He's going to have to catch some breaks here. Because I don't think he's going to be able to get into the sweet spot.
I think if he tries to get away, he can make it. I mean, like a 2-bank out or something is totally fine.
He can get out, but he's not going to be able to go too many places that don't result in him getting shot.
Yes.
There's a lot of arc coverage out there. Jess facing one way, Biggs the other. The rear arc on that arc 170, unless he's gone bank to the right.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking is the safe bet. I just wonder if
keeps him out of the fight, though.
If he's trying to get a shot here, he's going to have a very dangerous time. But he will get the chance to shoot. That looks like a bank to the left.
Oh,
2-bank.
Not where he wants to be. That's
that makes that talon roll fantastic. But he's got barrel roll.
It's
which
really
might sidestep both the arc and Jess's arcs.
Yeah, inspiring recruit, so crucial. So crucial for Mishary here. Without that, I think he would have no chance at all to survive with Fenn.
He's dead without the.
And I think you're right. A barrel roll could save him here.
Yep. Try and thread right between the little dead zone between Biggs and Jess's arcs.
So slippery. Just beautiful. Now he's not going to get a shot of his own.
No.
But he doesn't. He just needs to stay alive. And I believe he may have dodged every single arc.
I think he does it there.
Beautiful flying by Mishary.
That's the great thing with ships with that post-movement positioning actions like barrel roll or boost. They have a little bit of freedom that a ship without those does not have to correct. And maybe you don't get the target lock, maybe you don't get the shot, but living to fight another day is absolutely worth it.
Absolutely. Now we're gonna have an interesting round here. We've got Asajj nicely positioned to do some damage.
So that is Asajj taking a shot. Can't shoot Biggs. She's
Jess.
touching Biggs. So no, that was Braylen.
Oh, Braylen. Well, there you go.
Then looks like a hull.
Yeah, Rebels are starting to feel.
Crit is a direct
hit. Not good.
Just if anybody's wondering, the crits on Fenn Rao, if I remember correctly, are major hull breach and a damaged engine. So major hull breach won't really have an effect since he'll die to the next hit. But damaged engine, definitely a player, making all of his turns red.
Yeah, that does not help, but he's so flexible. He's in a pretty good position. He may not contribute much, but he is going to be hard to kill. Hit, crit into Asajj. Now, of course...
That would be Braylen shooting back?
Yeah,
no, that's just Pava.
That was Jess. Yeah, Jess bumped her pilot skill up with Adaptability.
Now, do you want to spend that stress? That's the question here.
I
think you do, because she's going to do a green anyways. She has plenty of options.
I don't think...
Now I think we're retroactively measuring arc here.
Okay. Here it comes. I believe this is Jess's roll. 4 hits. Putting the hammer down. And only 1 focus result. So not a great roll. But he's going to spend that stress. That takes some of the edge off, but 3 more damage coming through. This is going to be a real slugfest. And got a lot of damage flying around on both sides. This is a scrum. It's going to be bloody. A lot of back and forth this game. Big contrast to the previous game, which was very
Yes.
surgical.
Yeah.
This is a brawl.
This one, there's not been the opportunity yet to call it, for one of these guys here. And we're down to only 17 minutes roughly left.
Yeah, someone's got to get
on
a
the
kill
clock.
here.
Right now, I don't think any of the big ships are at half health. I don't think
that
any of the
Biggs?
small ships are dead.
Oh, that's no good. That is really
he's
no
got
good.
integrated, though, so
He does.
he's going to toss that major explosion.
As well he should,
Live
but
to
that
fight.
brings Biggs closer to death. And like I said, if you lose Biggs and you can't kill a ship,
That was Manaru shooting at Biggs.
Manaru just chipping in that damage. And here is
Not,
where...
excuse me, Contract Scout.
Contract Scout. We keep calling her Manaru because we're so used to seeing Manaru. But here's the thing. If you had... If Gerry hadn't forgotten to fire with Rex last turn, that would not have happened.
Yep.
Because he would have been rolling a single die.
Yes, indeed.
So it's like it's little things, little things make all the difference. So
So that's
I
the
think
stress
at this point,
from Braylen affecting everyone here.
At this point, you've got to bring down Asajj or you've got to bring down Fenn or you lose on time.
And Mishary is going to be... We got to assume he's going to be cognizant of that.
More damage coming through.
Be planning for that. So,
Oh,
not bad. I think he's just going to spend one stress, get the additional evade, take no damage. That is
Gunner,
the danger.
of course.
Asajj
Crucial.
is so hard to take out.
It's true. He's not adding the stress because he wants some pain to go through.
And she can just roll one evade, take
Oh.
the stress away, get another one. Still
Yep.
no damage.
See, this is where Braylen's ability and his outfit is a double-edged sword. Honestly,
is.
I think Gerry made a mistake by putting all that extra stress out. It hasn't helped him at all
And
because
it's
inspiring
helped-
recruit just shuts it
It's
down.
helped Asajj and Latts Razzi
Yep.
so much.
And he didn't have to do it. He didn't have to be.
Yeah.
He didn't have to be R2A3ing it. I don't think it's helped him at all.
R2A3 being the sister droid to R3A2 was
Mishary's
chosen sometimes when you need more sources of stress.
It's true. Mishary's dice are, of course, not letting him down either. That's been
Yes.
a lot of really good green dice rolls. Surviving with Fenn Rao, taking no damage with Asajj. I think Gerry is running out of options here. He's going to have some better dice if he wants to stay in this fight.
Still no updates from us, at least, on the state of the top 8 outside of this match here between Gerry Russell of Texas and Mishary Alfaris of Kuwait.
Of course, Mishary can't rest on his laurels either. He needs to kill Biggs or he is going to lose because I think Asajj is close to half points. If she's not there, she's going to get there before too long.
Although she took no damage, I think, this turn. So
She took none. I know. It's not a good turn for Gerry.
got to be frustrating, especially when you realize, you stop and think and realize that stress saved Asajj multiple damage.
So much. And it hasn't negatively affected Mishary's build at all. I think there's a degree of autopilot going on with Gerry. He hasn't faced an inspiring recruit build before.
And he's just executing his plan.
And it's the wrong plan.
Sure.
Because double stress any ship, it just does a green next turn and removes both stress.
Yeah, it looks like we have no damage on Asajj or on the Contract Stout. So they're both still full hull. Some more needs to go through on them to get the half points.
I think
but
Gerry-
Biggs is on his last legs here with only 2 hull.
Yeah, once Biggs goes down, the field gets wide open, and then it's just a free-for-all. I think what needs to happen is either Fenn or Asajj needs to get taken out very quickly, and unfortunately, that last round was the round to do it.
Fenn really, that barrel roll evading all those arcs was the right move for him. And he's still faced in a direction that lets him get back into the fight. With the right bank would not have really done that for him.
I mean, eventually Fenn may throw some dice back into this fight, but the most important thing he can do right now is stay alive. In my opinion.
And
I
just
think there's
provide focuses with Mindlink
Exactly.
all day long.
Exactly.
Although he does have Jess Pava trying to chase him down, so he's going to have to duck her at some point.
Yeah, Jess is nicely positioned as a pursuit craft. I will give Jess that. And, of course, the downside to Latts is that Jess's dial is now wide open because
Indeed.
that stress has been removed. If Braylen can clear his stress and stop stressing himself, I think we'll be in a pretty good spot.
I wonder how many times we have said stress in the last 15 minutes.
Speaking of stress, I think that if I were either of these players, I would be very, very wired right now. This could go either way.
The other downside to a strategy of going to time and winning on points is that you'll roll right into the next round with minimum preparation and rest.
This is true.
And I mean, having played some of these big tournaments, it's a great thing to be able to take a break, go to the bathroom, get something to drink, have a bite to eat, sit down, and then face your next opponent.
Oh, it can make all the difference. Again, it's the little things that'll get you. And I think Gerry had a great approach. I think he's been flying really well. It's the little stuff, like not realizing that the right move is not to do the usual Braylen stress approach. Forgetting to fire with Rex. Just the little things like that. Rolling 2 dice with Braylen instead of the 3 to try to get the kill on Fenn.
So the scout is positioned nicely to take the shot on Biggs, whatever Biggs does here.
Yep, that's
Biggs
a good
is probably
going
to end at range 1.
Biggs needs some hot dice to stay
take
alive.
A shot. He's got 2 hull left. But I got to think that Asajj is also going to try and set up a shot just to guarantee the kill.
Oh, definitely. It's absolutely what you want. You need Biggs down, not only for the points that he represents, but also so your list can finally do what it wants to do. Now, Asajj's stress, not great.
It's a bump there for Braylen.
Don't know what else he, could have done there differently. It was not in a great spot with Braylen. Now, does Braylen still have a stress? Did he... Looks like he cleared it.
I'm not sure what this face down... Is that face down stress on Rex just... Oh, yeah, he just didn't clear a stress. That was from the Attanni K turn.
Yep.
Did a hard turn, try and get some shots, I guess.
And, Latts Razzi is such an incredibly powerful crew card, with all this stress on the board, is really keeping that Shadowcaster alive much, much, much longer than its normal expiration date.
Now, a particularly useful move here for Fenn would have just been like a 2 straight, then barrel roll wide again.
I think
you get clear of that arc, and you stay out of Jess's way.
This is an interesting move by Biggs. I don't think it's very useful, but maybe he's hoping for a bump.
Yeah, I think he's hoping that Asajj doesn't get to shoot him. Now, I think, is that a 3 of some flavor? It's a 2 straight.
It's a 2.
Is he going to jump right over Biggs?
It might. That would be a very nice place. Ooh, but it might be a bump.
Doesn't look like it.
In which case, Biggs is where he wants to be.
He's going to have to eat the 1 range 1 shot from the contracted scout.
Down to dice at that point.
Biggs has a focus.
Mm-hmm.
I think the dice at that point almost favors survival.
Yeah, I think Braylen's got a chance to bring Asajj down to half points here, which is going to be important.
Less than 10 minutes on the clock here.
The really important thing is what's going to happen with Fenn. Is Jess going to get a shot, or is Fenn too tricky? I think Fenn might be too tricky. Is a barrel roll to the right going to get Fenn out of there? It's going to be close.
Well, and I think, you don't think he can roll to the left and try and get the shot, or can he? You risk the shot from
2 template is out.
Braylen.
I'm not sure why exactly.
He's measuring to see if he can roll
to
the left to get a shot on Jess and dodge her. It looks like he can.
Dang. Slippery Fenn.
So he's going to take the shot from Braylen. Or make Braylen choose. Do I try and shoot Fenn, or do I go for half points on Asajj?
Aggressive, I like it.
And then he's going to light Jess Pava up.
Yep. And this is a 5 dice Fenn round shot.
If I'm not mistaken, Asajj also has a range 1 shot on Jess Pava. So Jess all of a sudden in a bit of trouble here with effectively 7 health, I believe. She's unhurt.
It's true.
That was Fenrau
not the greatest shot,
great.
and I think you save the focus if you're the Fenn player. You don't want to lose the game on that. So 2
Gerry's
dice.
going to roll defense.
Chipping some dice through.
It's not going to kill her this turn, probably, especially not with that.
A-okay. Of course, Jess has a reroll on the defense, being range 1 from Biggs. That's crucial.
And then I think that's going to be Asajj, same target. No.
Not super hot on the, and then a reroll. Is he going to take the reroll?
He's not.
He's not taking the seat. Jerry is forgetting these basic things
that
are
doing that.
Okay, he is taking it.
Yep.
Good.
I think that was probably pointed out by Mishary. Just a real nice.
That is class. Seriously, that is seriously classy. And that's I think what makes this game so much fun to play.
Yes.
That even in the top 8 of the World Finals, that's a class act.
We saw that in a lot of our games, where even at these highest levels of competition, just fantastic sportsmanship across the board.
A chip of damage.
Now
through.
that's Biggs on the contracted scout. If I had to guess. Braylen's going to try and go for Fenn.
He's got Gunner. He's got a chance here.
And the last
it's a range 2 shot. That's crucial.
The last shot will be contracted scout on Biggs. We've got 6.5 minutes left, give or take.
This is right down to the wire.
I think we'll go right into one more round, but somebody's going to have to seal the deal here. Hit crit. Fenn needs paint on 2 of his dice. That's range 2, so no Autothrusters.
Ooh, come on, Fenn.
He gets it. Spends that token.
He's got to spend it or he's dead.
But then there's always Gunner.
Gunner coming. Naked Fenn dice. They've
Naked Braylen Stramm dice, too.
True.
Other than... Ooh.
Fenn needs some love. He needs double evades.
That was a big celebratory clap there from Gerry, because that's Fenn off the board. So at this point,
wow.
Mishary needs to kill Biggs and something else.
Yep. It is Gerry's game to lose at this point.
It just got very tough. He's going to take the shot on Biggs.
You got to.
But how does he seal the deal on one of these other ships? Jess took 1 damage that round.
Not what he needed. And Biggs
takes none.
No, I think he's
that's
calling it.
Calling it there with 5 minutes left. Yep. He had no real chance to salvage that. So
going out like a gentleman. I think if Mishary had made that roll, this would have been a very different game. I think it all came down to that second defense roll.
Oh, yes.
Now, really, really strong play by Gerry, but I think Gerry almost cost himself the game with a series of small but critical mistakes.
Yep.
Great formation, really good maneuvers, doing a lot of stuff right, but the fatigue is creeping in.
Yeah,
and it's the little things.
It's going to be only more of a factor, in the game here, because whoever he plays, they're one of the top 4 players here at Worlds.
And yeah, Gerry got away with it this time, and thanks to some really exemplary flying and maneuvering. But someone points out the couple of things that he needs to look out for in his coming games, because I think he's got a chance to take it all the way. He's got a great list.
Absolutely.
He obviously knows how to fly it. It's nice to see 2 X-Wings in the top 4.
Yeah,
it's been a while since we've seen that.
And not just Biggs. We're seeing just Pava in 2 of these lists here showing up, be it T-70s, T-65s. Awesome to see in the game of X-Wing.
And we've seen 2 games now where Jess has been really clutch.
Yeah, they're getting a lot of mileage out of her ability with the rerolls and pattern analyzer. Just a great little package there at not a lot of points. She's 28 points, I think, total?
Yeah, it's a pretty good bargain. Do you think that the X-Wing has kind of turned the corner in a way and gotten to a more competitive place thanks to the small...
Yes.
They haven't had a major buff, but they have had a lot of little sort of incremental buffs.
I think between those little helping changes and the new pilot abilities that we've seen, Astromechs, integrated Astromech, things like that really only X-Wings can make the best use of.
Mm-hmm.
They're definitely seeing a place. And it's nice to see something other than just Biggs, too.
Yeah, and I hope that trend continues. We'll keep an eye on X-Wings in the future, but it is certainly nice to have at least one double X-Wing list in the top 4 of the
not bad at all
X-Wing World Finals for sure.
So we're going to go find out what's going on with these other top 4 matches. We'll come back a little bit before we start our top 4 game. and give you guys an update on which lists are still in the running, which players we're still going to be looking at, and we'll bring you, 2 more exciting rounds of Star Wars X-Wing here at the 2017 World Championships.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens. Stay tuned.